What are you doing?
What do you mean, what am I doing?
I mean, you're gonna ruin your appetite.
I'm hungry.
We're never late for Sunday dinner. Should we wait?
I guess. You're late.
What do you mean?
What do you mean, what do I mean? You're late for dinner.
Oh, yes, we are. We're late
By
for
a
dinner.
single minute.
Yes, we were just,
I had to put some aloe iodine
just
on
had
my
to-
shoulder.
do his shoulder. And
Why is that breakfast cereal on the dinner table?
Why are you being weird?
we're not,
We're not
being
acting
weird.
weird.
Well, I'm doing that weird thing with your face.
Oh, we don't know what you're talking about.
Are you pregnant?
Yeah, we're pregnant.
Yes,
How
yes.
do you know that?
Have you looked at your husband's face?
I know, he just cannot keep a secret.
What? Really?
Yeah.
What? You are gonna be the best mom. Oh my God.
And you are gonna be the best dad. Just kidding. You are out of your depth. But we're gonna be the best uncles ever. Okay, we should eat.
Welcome to the Superhero Cinephiles Podcast. I'm your host, Perry Constantine, and today to talk about Fantastic Four First Steps is my fellow, one of the biggest FF fans I know, who's been on the show before, and that is Kelen Conley. Kel, how you doing today, buddy?
I'm wonderful, man. I am so wonderful. How are you today?
I'm doing good myself. So before we jump into the movie, why don't you remind people who you are, what you do?
Who I am? Well, who I am is mostly I'm known as B-Hyphen. I put out an album last year. It's called Hyphen. It's available on streaming everywhere. You can find it on my website, B-Hyphen.com. In addition to that, I also do a podcast called Hyphen Nation and run a YouTube channel called Hyphen Universe. So a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Awesome. And as I mentioned, today we're going to be talking about Fantastic Four First Steps, 2025 film. It just came out this past summer. The fourth Fantastic Four film, and fortunately, fourth time is the charm. But we're gonna we'll talk about that in a little bit. So before we do that, what kind of stuff is grabbing your attention lately? Anything that's interesting you?
I'm just gearing up for Stranger Things, man. They dropped the trailer. I won't watch it because I'm not a trailer person anymore. I'd rather just witness it during the film or the TV show. But it's been a long time coming, and I'm very excited about it coming back and finishing off the story. And that's really all that's on my mind right now. And get ready to start rewatching it again, kind of gearing up for it to get ready again.
See, I have not. I watched the first season, like way back when it first came out, and I just never watched any of the other ones. Just never found the time, and so it's one of those things that I've got to eventually get through and rewatch it all the way through because my wife loves it too. She's like,
Yeah.
she watched it all the way through, and so she's looking forward to the new season as well. It's one of those things that I got to sit down and I got to rewatch the first season because I don't remember anything from it now.
Yeah, I can tell you one thing: they're all adults now. They're still
Well, I do
playing
know that.
children.
Because I've seen them pop up in other stuff, so I do know
Oh, I
that
know.
much.
Like the Ghostbusters movies, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. As for me, you know, I'm doing back-to-back podcast recording. So what I talked about in the last episode was Yellow Jackets, which just started watching that because we have the service Unext here in Japan. They have like a bunch of like the HBO and Showtime content and all that. So
Nice.
we were just able to get that. So I just started watching that and almost done with the first season. Really been digging that. Other than that, the other thing I've been doing is I've been diving back into No Man's Sky lately because they've got they had this update in the summer where they introduced this spaceship building element where you can build your own spaceships. Cool. Yeah, so it's been really cool. And you know, you look on. It's funny because you look online and people have like they find ways to like you take advantage of like glitches and stuff like that, or they use like mods on the PC version to make like these really, you know, really cool looking spaceships, or like to, you know, recreate like famous spaceships. Like I think the one of the game's creators like did like the Enterprise, the Millennium Falcon, or some stuff like that.
Oh, nice.
And me, like, you know, just with the basic PS5 version, I don't know how the glitches work. I'm just kind of like, I don't. Like my spaceship doesn't look anything as cool as all those ones.
Hey, your spaceship flies. That's all that matters sometimes.
It flies, yeah, it flies.
Goes.
All right, there we go. Yeah. So it may not look pretty, but it still flies at least.
Absolutely.
But no, it's been fun jumping into that and just kind of like playing around with stuff a little bit here and there. That's one of those games where I don't know if you ever played it, but it's just you kind of like it's fun because it's like a big space exploration game. And you go to different planets. It's a resource management game first and foremost. So you're like, it's very similar to like Minecraft or other types, or Ark or anything, stuff like that.
Minecraft
So
has been my whole life. This last year, I finally dove in, and actually, yeah, at like a couple of my year anniversary playing Minecraft, because I played it for my charity fundraiser I do every year for Extra Life, and I played it like starting at like 1 a.m. and I played it until we finished the whole stream and everything. So I am very big on Minecraft. But the funny thing is, I'm scared of survival because the monsters just scare me, even though they're blocks. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. But I do enjoy the game a lot.
I've been wanting to get into Minecraft because just because I see like the different types of stuff people build online with it, and I'm like, oh man, it looks fun.
Insane.
Yeah,
Insane.
and so I've been wanting to do it, but it's just like the game is just so freaking popular that even a used copy still costs like $40. I'm like, I'm not going to spend $40 on it.
I got mine on the Sony, on the PlayStation Store for like 25 last year. It really wasn't that bad. It was right when they put out the PS5 version. So,
Okay.
I don't know if you want to do digital downloads, but that might be the route to go instead of doing the physical.
Mostly I do digital downloads.
Okay.
But I'm keeping my eye on it. Like it's one of those ones that I think I've got it on my wish list, and I check into it every now and then. But I haven't seen the price come down to the point where I'm willing to pay for it
Satisfactory
yet.
price.
Yeah,
I understand
yeah,
that.
yeah.
I waited on Shredder's Revenge to pay $15.
I know, right, man? Me too.
Revenge. I was like, I'm getting it. I'm getting it. I've been waiting too long for that game.
Dude, yeah, I did the same thing. I waited until it came down in price. I bought that. I haven't bought any of the extra content yet, which I want to get. But
yeah,
I'm not going to spend $20 on Mona Lisa and the other characters.
Right. Just let me play the game first. Absolutely. Absolutely.
But I played that game, and I jump into it every now and then because my sister loves my daughter loves watching me play it.
Oh.
So she likes watching me play it. She loves it with Leo, his hi-ya, so she's always like shouting after it every time he does it in the game.
Yes.
So this is how they're starting to get into like their Kindle games a little bit here and there. So pretty soon I think we're going to be at the place where I can start them up on my recall box and getting them playing some of the classics.
Absolutely.
So we're getting there. We're getting there slowly but surely. I
love that.
But and then once they do that, I bet I'll never be able to use my TV again.
I'm fortunate that Aaliyah is not a gamer. She likes to swing around with Spider-Man even at age 11, but besides that, she doesn't. I'm like, all right, you're in a fight. You got to do this. No, forget it. It's like, all right, you take controller back. Dad. All right, cool.
I'm very much in the patient gamer mode where I'm not going to spend like full price on games anymore unless it's it's something I really can't wait for, like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I bought that when it first came out. That was the reason why I bought a PS5. Yeah, that too. That'll probably be one of them as well. Yep.
And the new Lego Batman, I'm going to buy that when it comes out for sure too.
Yeah, I played a little bit of them, but I haven't really gotten into them too much. I've got them on PS3, but I haven't really, which I still have my PS3.
Oh yeah, me too.
I just haven't really had a chance to really dive into them.
If you haven't watched the trailer for Lego Batman comes out next year, do yourself a favor because it's pretty awesome with everything they're going to throw into this game. So I'm excited.
I'll check that out.
Excited to see it. Yeah, man.
But also that Power Rangers game, Rita's Rewind or whatever. I've been waiting for that to come down. I have not heard
about that.
Oh, it's very similar to like Shredder's Revenge. It's like this side-scrolling Power Rangers game. And again, but it's just like the price, man. It's like $40. I'm like, I'm not gonna spend $40 on it.
I know, man.
But they got that Marvel. Well, they got the Marvel one coming out too. So
yes, yes, they do.
So I'm looking forward to that one as well. Again, when it comes down, I'm still waiting for. They came out with that Marvel versus Capcom remix or whatever, or Redux or whatever recently with all the games in it. Yeah. And again, I'm waiting for that to come down in price because I play those games again.
Oh man, those games were so fun when I was younger. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, Cable, man, I killed with him. Like the 2 or 3 moves he does, I just use them all in tandem. I had those moves down pat.
They're devastating if you hit them right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. All right. Anyway, as I mentioned, today we'll be talking about Fantastic Four First Steps. And, we talked a little bit in the past how, back when we had you on to talk about the Tim Story Fantastic Four films, You talked about what a big fan of the FF you are back in those. But just kind of like, recap people. What's your history with the Fantastic Four?
Fantastic Four was one of those comic books that I just got as a kid, and I just immediately was drawn into the whole group. I once had this issue of What If where it was like, what if the Fantastic Four's daughter had second child had lived, and like the first half of the book was where she killed the Fantastic Four, and the other half of the book was where she like saved the world. And after that, I was like really intrigued by the core group, and then found some of the older stories, but were really sealed it for me. It was like 94, went to a yard sale, found one of those little pocket treasuries of the first 6 issues of Fantastic Four, and I still own it. It's somewhere over there with no front cover on it anymore because I mean it's old. It was like reprinted in the 80s, but that right there, just reading those original 6 issues, I was like, this is probably my favorite superhero team of all time. And to this day, I would still say if Fantastic Four probably goes above everybody. Justice League, Avengers, X-Men. I love the FF, man.
So are there any runs that you particularly gravitate towards with the FF?
Of course, love the Lee and Kirby stuff. Really liked a lot of the John Byrne stuff. But of course, I'm a 90s baby, so a lot of the DeFalco stuff, especially when they killed Reed, and then Sue, I can't think of her alter ego, but Sue had on the Skippy 90s
Malice?
suit. Yeah, thank you, Malice. When she did that, I was a big fan of that. And then even in the early 2000s when they not early 2000s, it was kind of early 2000s, when oh my god, Mark Waid was writing it, and then
Yeah, that was early
and
2000s.
Mike was drawing it. I can never say his last name, and he always signed his
Ringo.
signature. Ringo, yeah, thank you. I had that entire run starting right when, spoilers, Reed accidentally killed the Thing, and then I went back and kind of caught up on that. That's probably my favorite run is the Mark Waid run from the early 2000s, for sure.
Yeah. So I talked about this before too, but like Fantastic Four was just one of those Marvel properties I was never able to really kind of quite grasp onto. I mean, I do have the epic collections and of the Lee and Kirby stuff, and I've been trying to, because we talked about the 94 Fantastic Four film a few months back, and and I tried diving into the epic collections after that, especially after I saw First Steps, because I really dug First Steps. So I wanted to go back and, all right, now I'm gonna get this nut cracked. I'm gonna try and dive into it, but it's just that old style, that 60s style though, it is tough to latch onto.
Very of its time.
It's very much of its time. Yeah. So it's hard to kind of grasp into it.
There's a spider over there. Go get it. Don't worry, Sue, my darling. I'll be over there. Why do you need a wuss like Reed to kill a spider, Sue? I'm right here. That's literally what they did every single issue. Shut up, Johnny.
It's wild because I'm going back and I'm rereading it, and it's just like every single issue, like, Ben is like picking fights with Reed over nothing, and Sue is like, borderline brain damaged.
Oh my god.
I guess one of my favorite ones is when she was so worried about, she's like, well, my invisibility makes it so people can't see me, but they can still smell me. And she's trying all these different scents and perfumes, like has all these dogs coming after her.
Oh my god, yes. Or how about Johnny, when Johnny gets pissed off and he runs off, and then he's at like a homeless shelter, and he's like, hey, that guy looks like Submariner. Let me shave his face with my flame. It's like, oh, you are Submariner. What a coincidence. How lucky of me.
Yeah, geez, if that guy wasn't Submariner, then
just leave him alone, Johnny.
Yeah.
Damn.
And he drops in the water, then he turns out and he comes back to destroy humanity. Maybe that wasn't the best idea, Johnny. Come on.
And sleeps with Reed's wife multiple times, but we're not going to talk about that.
Yeah.
Not going to talk about that.
Yeah. So, but there have been a few stuff that I did latch onto, like the Wade stuff. Brilliant. Yeah, I definitely latched onto that. I've read some of the JMS stuff, and I liked what I read there. And the Hickman stuff I read, and I dug that. I read the Robinson.
Yeah, we
stuff.
talked about Hickman last time. I still haven't read that, but I do need to read the Hickman run. I mean, every Hickman run at this point is almost a classic, isn't it? Though.
Yeah, right. I know. But and I read the the Robinson run that they did right before Secret Wars when they
Mhm.
shuffled the FF off of the deck for a few years.
Yep.
And I dug that too. And I've also heard a lot of good things about the Liddell stuff from the Heroes Return era, the
Okay.
late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's one of those things that there's some stuff I like, and I know the characters enough where I can kind of like clue myself in. I know what works with them and what doesn't. Um, but it's just something that for just whatever reason, I can't really latch onto it too much. I've heard a lot of good things about the Ryan North run that is going on right now.
Okay.
And I've read a few of that through like some of the crossover stuff they have, like the One World, One Nation Under Doom stuff.
Mhm.
And yeah, it's pretty good. The stuff that I've read is really good. So I'm, planning to get into his run at some point. And I still got
Very
the Burn
nice.
stuff. I'm planning to check those out eventually. But man, Burn is just one of those guys that it's like
You got to be in the right headspace.
yeah, but also like, I just like the guy is just I fucking despise the guy too. Like he's just such
Right,
an
because
arrogant.
he's literally there. It is arrogant know-it-all. You took the words out of my
Yeah.
mouth. You took them right out.
And it's like, like his Superman stuff drives me nuts. Since
Mhm.
like you turned Clark Kent into an arrogant shithead just like you. Oh,
He did. He did just
but
a teensy little bit.
also, and I found this out because when I was I think like the whole idea of like Reed and Sue first meeting when she was a little kid came from John Burns' run. It's like, dude, this guy's got some weird, like he also was insistent on Colossus being over 18 when Kitty was 14 because it's like he wanted that age gap. Like, why do you keep going to this?
Yeah, he's a little gross. He's a little
Yeah.
gross.
All right, but anyway, all that being said, first steps. What were you thinking going into this movie, and what did you feel after you saw it?
Um, I was very excited. I had tried to avoid. I already mentioned I don't watch trailers, but I tried to avoid as many trailers as possible. But at that point, as it got closer, it was just kind of inevitable. Especially when I went to go see Superman, I ended up seeing the first step stuff, and of course, I'm hearing the discourse online. So I knew I was going to get that authentic '60s feel that made me fall in love with the first family of Marvel. So I knew they had nailed that down right. I was concerned only about Johnny's look just from the photos of him and everything because I was like, this guy doesn't really look like Johnny. Like when I think about Johnny, I think about high school quarterback, all American blue-eyed blonde guy with who gets all the ladies. And this guy has the blue eyes and blonde and the blonde hair, but it's like he just it doesn't scream Johnny to me. But the coolest thing about it, Perry, was I took Aaliyah with me to go watch it. And every time I get ready to go to the movies to see a Marvel movie or anything like that, I'm like, hey, do you want to go to the movies with me? Do you want to go? I'm like, nah, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. This time she said she wanted to go. And it was just me and her, and we went to go watch it. And other than I tried to get her to go before the movie, she went, but we had to still take a bathroom break right when Sue came back and was like addressing everyone about why they weren't giving up Franklin. So I kind of missed that little few minutes, but it really wasn't a big of a deal. I absolutely loved every second of the movie. It exceeded my expectations. And the funny thing was, Aaliyah said she liked it, which is like, all right, that's nice. You said you liked it, you like spending time with dad and everything. But then we always do first day of school pictures where she'll like have her little board and like, what's your favorite movie? And what was on there? Fantastic Four First Steps. And I was like, no way. No way. She's like, yeah, like that's awesome.
That is awesome. Yeah. I was cautiously optimistic about it going in
Mhm.
because they had 3 bites of the apple and each time
they
they fell
they
short.
have fumbled in many different ways. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I mean, and it's actually the 5th Fantastic Four movie, right? Because the Tim Story
because
one's
the
had
Corman.
2.
Mhm.
Yeah. So we had the Corman one, which which we covered back in the summer, which was interesting. Like you can see that it was earnest. I'll give them that. But
Yes.
just like, man, the budget was just not there at all. And then you had the Tim Story movies, which had some good points, and then other stuff they just took like some weird curves, and it's like, why did you do that? You were there, and then you just took like this weird left turn. And then the Josh Trank one, which we also covered earlier this year, which my God, I still don't know what the hell that was all about.
That was
I
literally
just-
about keeping IP. I really think it was just about keeping IP away
It
from
was,
Marvel.
man, because it's just like, how can you fuck it up that much?
I, I got nothing for that. I'm
Yeah.
still not watching to this day, and I was like, that's not my Fantastic Four.
Yeah,
And
man.
like,
It's
it wasn't even
nobody's
Ultimate
Fantastic Four.
Fantastic Four.
No, it wasn't.
Right.
It was just bad. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
man.
and then with this one, they announced Pedro Pascal as Mr. Fantastic, and I love Pedro, right? Nothing, no shine against him, but I didn't think of him as Reed Richards, and I'm like,
Hmm.
I
Same,
wasn't,
same.
yeah. So I'm like, I'm not so sure. And then when we started seeing him in the images, like the whole mustache thing, I'm just like, why has Reed got a mustache? Like full bearded Reed, I dig it. I'm totally there for full bearded Reed. I love Reed with the full beard. Clean shaven Reed, okay, I can dig that too. And when we covered Fantastic Four, my guest Logan, he'd had this really good theory behind it. He's like, I can see Reed as being someone who, just really quickly shaves in the morning and just leaves it, and it's like, okay, I'm done, it's over with, now move on with my day. Or I can see Reed being someone who's just like, I don't care enough to groom, so I'm just gonna let the beard grow out. He's like, I
Right.
can't see him being somebody who manicures a mustache. And I'm like, yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. And so,
Yeah.
but he also said, but I see what they're doing with it, because I think they're going for like the Walt Disney aesthetic, like the Tomorrowland and all that. And I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And I thought
Yeah.
that was a pretty good idea for it. But even still, I wasn't sure how he do with it. Evan Moss Backrack, the only thing I knew him from was Punisher when he played Microchip in that. So,
Oh, okay. See, I know him from the Bear. Because I'm
oh,
caught
that's
up with the
right, yes,
Bear.
the Bear. Yeah, I just started watching that recently. So yeah, I know him from that as well.
Yes.
Um, and Vanessa Kirby and Joseph Quinn, I don't think I've ever seen them in anything, so I had no frame of reference for them. But in the trailers, Vanessa Kirby really impressed me. So I'm like, okay, I'm digging what she's putting down here. So I'm really
Hmm.
curious to see what she's gonna do. And then and then I went to see it, and yeah, I loved it. It definitely blew me away. Like it was
Hmm.
neck and neck between this or Superman for what was my favorite movie of the summer.
The worst part about this movie was how close it was to Superman. Because Perry, I was floored by Superman, and
Mm.
I have still have not sat down to rewatch it at home because I enjoyed my viewing in the theater so much. I know I won't get that same joy again. I even though I think it's a very strong movie. But the fact that I was hoping it would match Superman's energy, it was almost impossible. So I was a little let down only because of how good Superman was. But besides that, Vanessa Kirby, I love you. like like I never thought I would live in a world where not Reed Richards was the leader of the Fantastic Four, that Sue Storm was the leader of the Fantastic Four. And yes, like Reed's the face, Reed's the reason that they got the powers and everything like that. But this was Vanessa Kirby's movie from the jump. From the jump, and she killed it. Like, and my friend watched it, and like one of my best friends, Matt, and he watched it, and he's like, "Oh yeah, me and my wife were laughing about giving birth in space and blah blah blah." Blah. And I didn't say it to him because I didn't want to turn on my fanboy. I want to be like, "You shut your mouth. That was hilarious. Like you try to have a baby in space. You try it, and you tell me, Matthew, how difficult it is." But like uh, Johnny was incredible. They didn't just make him this playboy that you know, like, and like, not that Johnny's ever been dumb, but Johnny's hot headed. But Johnny literally solved the freaking puzzle about Galactus and used his brains to figure it out. Not Reed again. A whole swerve that nobody saw coming. And then of course the thing. The only thing I didn't love about the thing was the thing grew a beard, but you know what? I can live with that. I can live with thing beard. And it was the first family, man. It was so good. I agree.
Yeah, I co-sign all that. Like Vanessa Kirby, she absolutely. I suspected that she was gonna kind of be like the lead of this. She's gonna really kind of steal the show, which she's had it coming, because that character's had it coming, because in the Tim Story films they just basically reduced her to eye candy, which we talked about. As much as Jessica Alba really did try, it's just like that director was not doing her any favors, and the script was
Mhm.
not doing her any favors or anything. And then Kate Mara in the Josh Trank one, she had like nothing to do. She was it, it's almost too much to call her a supporting character. She had like literally like nothing to do in that whole movie.
Yeah.
Um, but Year, like, she was incredible. Like she completely captured like what I think of when I think of Sue Storm. So I thought she was incredible of it. She's the she got that she's someone who she's she's nurturing, she's she's caring, she's like the heart of the team and all that, but also she's not afraid to call them all on their shit when they're screwing things up. Like like her calling out Reed was brilliant. I thought like that was incredible. And
Mm-hmm.
and as to Johnny, yeah, that like I said, Vanessa Kirby and Joseph Quinn, those are the two that I had no frame of reference for, but he was great in this as well. And I was a little bit disappointed when we got in the beginning and they had said that, and Reed had said, well, I decided to get, the greatest scientific minds who just also happen to be my best friends. I'm like, like one of the things I liked about the story films was they found a reason for all of them to be there. So Sue being a scientist made sense. And then having both Ben and Johnny be pilots too, that also worked. I'm like, okay, this works. I can see this as a reason why these four get together. Here they're all scientists of some degree, but we never know what like the other three's areas of expertise are.
Right.
Yeah, so it felt like a little bit like, okay, we're kind of shortchanging things a little bit with that.
I'm not
But that's
mad
like
that they didn't recreate the origin, but I do agree having a little bit more backstory would have been nice right there.
but I thought they did a good job with recapping the origin and doing it in the form of this TV show biography documentary thing. That was a cool little touch on it, where it tells you what you need to know, just gives you a few minutes, and we're not wasting too much time. It's probably like 5 minutes of screen time throughout the whole thing, so I thought that was a good way of doing it. But you know what, one of the things that really impressed me was just like the cast all together. Like Pedro, like I said, I was a little bit not nothing against his acting, I just wasn't sure if he just wasn't my vision of Reed. But I thought he did an amazing job. And I thought like that when he's talking to Franklin and he's telling him about how, I see too much, right? I look too much. And, just like this curse that he has where like he wants to know, he has to think of the worst things. And it's like, I really felt for his dilemma where he's like, I have to think about these things. I have to think about the worst thing possible, even though I know it drives you insane. It's something I have to do so that I can be prepared for. I really felt for him in those moments, especially, being a father myself and just like, always being nervous about projecting your own shit onto your kids. Right. I was totally with him in that scene.
Yeah, absolutely. And it humanized Reed in a way that we hadn't gotten in any other of the Fantastic Four movies. Because and that's really, I really think that's what Pedro's strong suit was in this film, because yes, he got to be big brain Reed, but at the same time, he also got to be a very human Reed who, end of the day, like this monster from another planet, this celestial being, excuse me, just wants to take his child away from him, and they just got him, and this is his legacy right here. This is everything that he's worked towards that he always thought would be scientific or something like that. And the moment he holds Franklin, I really think that it hits home that no, this is it, Reed. This is the Big Bang Theory for you, sir. And I think he came off very vulnerable, and I do think he played that role very well. An interesting thing though about Reed, since we're talking about him right now, did it bother you there wasn't a lot of stretching effects with Reed?
No, I think they did. I think they did just enough because and this has been the thing that people have been talking about for a while, is that, human stretching is a hard thing to do in live action. It's a hard thing to make look believable. It can look really ridiculous. So I thought they gave us just enough. And I thought the amount they gave us, and they focused more on Reed's intelligence, I thought was a very smart move.
Yeah, I do too. I actually have my own headcanon for why he didn't do more stretching besides the obvious that human stretching looks funny. I was just thinking like, what if how they always go through their phases, like, oh, Sue can't turn invisible, Sue can't turn back to normal, Thing can't become Thing, Ben is stuck as Ben, Johnny can't flame on. What if like something happened and Reed couldn't stretch for a while, man? Like maybe he's just getting back his stretching powers as we're getting into this adventure. In that way, yeah, if you think about it that way, then it's kind of like, okay, he's recovering from the previous thing that caused him to lose his powers. So I just thought I'd share that.
No, that makes a lot of sense, especially when you consider this world that they're in, where they have, kind of taken care of all their big bads, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we assume obviously Doom's out there somewhere, but otherwise, because we see the there's no Latverian delegate, and of course, the post credit scene we see Doom pop up there. But
Yes, we
you really
do.
get this you really get this sense that maybe they're in this situation where they're in a lull of activity. So maybe he did have this situation where he had you know overextended his powers or something, and now he just doesn't really have much of a need to worry about it too much. That's I can buy
Yeah.
that. But also, like, Evan Moss Backrack, like one of the best things we talked about of the story films was Michael Chiklis's performance.
Hmm.
Um, and right from the trailer, like I'm like, oh my god, like he looks the part. They nailed
Yes,
that.
he did.
They nailed the CGI with him too.
Yes, he did.
Um, and then watching the movie, and it's funny. One of my friends had commented with me that one of the things he was worried about, he's like, I don't know about the CGI, man. I feel like it doesn't feel like he's got the same weight that thing should have. And I watched the movie, and I'm like, no, man, they did that, like, because there's like these rumbling sounds every time he moves, and like you can hear like the
Yes,
rocks scraping against each other.
absolutely. Absolutely. Ben made his presence known in every single scene. Ben is my favorite Fantastic Four character. I probably mentioned that on the last time I was on. Um, but the whole idea of the man turned into a monster, it doesn't work. It didn't grab me like that with Hawk. I enjoy Hawk as a character and his mythos and everything like that. But as a child, the minute that I saw the Aunt Petunia's favorite nephew, man, I was like, man, I love the thing. Thing's so awesome. And then to this day, it persists. And the fact that um in 2025 we got either 1A or 1B of the best performance of the thing in movies. It made me very happy, very happy. And you got those tender moments where he went to go see the um Natasha Lyonne's character before they fought Galactus one last time. And I thought she was Alicia at first, but then I was like, nah, she ain't blonde, so she ain't Alicia. But it was still very cool to see that. And of course, the kids are like, pick up the car, pick up the car. And he's like, you want me to pick up the car? You were like, all right, let me pick up the car. And I was like, that's Ben. That's what Ben Grimm does, man. He's from around the way, and then he always be around the way.
Yeah, one of the things I love about this is they leaned more into like later depictions of Ben, whereas because like
Hmm.
as I'm dipping into the original stuff, it's very much the woe is me, I'm made of rocks and all that kind of stuff.
Nobody
But
will ever love me. I'm
yeah, yeah.
stuck like this. Yeah,
But
yeah.
but as he grew on as a character, right, he became comfortable in being who he is now. And so like I felt that they really nailed that in this movie. And we got the whole this man this monster thing with Michael Chiklis in the Tim Story film. So I'm kind of glad they didn't do that again here, and I'm kind of glad they decided to lean more into the Ben that is he's at peace with who he is. He's comfortable with who he is. He's accepted.
Yes.
This is who I am. This is what I am. Okay, let's just deal with it. And I really love that because it gave him he was able to be like gave him he was able to be like the like if he's I said like if you think of Sue as like the heart of the team, I think Ben is like the soul of the team. And
Hmm.
I think he really does that here, like the way he talks with all the characters, his interactions. I love his interactions with Pedro. And like we had talked about how in the Tim Story films that they gave us a little bit of the Ben Reed friendship, but it was very subdued. It was hard to really get too much of a sense of him. In the Josh Trank film, it was terrible because it's almost like it very much felt like Reed is just using Ben as like just like an assistant type of thing.
Yeah.
You didn't feel the friendship at all. Here, you really felt the friendship, right? That scene when they're when they're having that heart to heart, and Ben's telling him, he's like, hey, Stretch, you're not as smart as you think you are. He's like, yes, I am. He's like, well, yeah. How about your driver's license? And he's and just like it's
Yes.
like these little moments he has with them, or like with Johnny when Johnny's giving him crap about the it's clobbering time thing, and just Ben's just
Oh, I
not
know.
taking the bait.
I don't want to say that. I don't want to say that. No, no. And that was the perfect running joke too, because
Mhm.
obviously you always think that, I mean, you're just waiting for him to say that, and the fact they're like, we're going to go away from that as long as possible,
Mhm.
and then when we give you the payoff, it's going to be awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was very
Um,
cool.
Yeah, I was with you. Not as solid on the beard thing. I thought that was wasn't really my thing. I mean, it does have precedent in the comics, so I guess why
I
they're
couldn't
doing it.
figure out how he grew it so fast because I happened when I went to the bathroom and then he had the beard. And I was like, dang it.
Dude, same thing. I went to the bathroom and I came back and I saw he had the beard and I'm like, I wonder if this happened like there was like some manifestation of Franklin's powers or something. That's how it came out. But then when I managed to watch it on the second viewing, I'm like, oh no, he just grows the beard. He stands it down every day. Okay.
No, it's just like I have a beard now. Like, okay, all right. Do you, Ben? Do you, Ben? No problem.
Yeah. But we're gonna take a quick break and then we'll come right back.
Absolutely.
Blast off into a new universe with Corsairs, a new sci-fi space opera serial by me, Percival Constantine. In these adventures, join the crew of the Corsair, a group of intergalactic mercenaries, as they struggle to survive in the depths of corporate-controlled space. If you're a fan of Firefly, Cowboy Bebop, or Guardians of the Galaxy, then you're going to love Corsairs. Subscribers to my Patreon get 2 new episodes a week, while free members get 1 new episode a week starting in December. Patreon offers new subscribers a 7-day free trial, but I'm also throwing in another perk. If you sign up with the coupon code SCP, you'll get 90% off your first month. So visit patreon.com/Percival Constantine and join in the adventures. We all love superhero movies and TV shows, but what about the comics that inspired them? Marvel, DC, Image, and more have provided the template for the movies and shows we all enjoy watching, and it's important to honor that tradition by buying and reading comic books. Superhero Cinephiles is proud to be an affiliate of mycomicshop.com. It began as a small mail-order business operated by junior high school student Buddy Saunders all the way back in 1960, and has been operating on the internet since 1997. My Comic Shop has new releases, value packs, back issues, trade paperbacks, comic art, regular auctions, and a whole lot more, including 35% discounts on pre-orders. You can also sell your own comics or utilize their consignment services. You can even create your own want list of comics you're searching for. To get started, check out our affiliate link in the show notes or on the superherocinephiles.com homepage.
In here.
All right, and we are back. See, another thing about Ben is just I love the running get like the cooking scene, right? Which we saw in the trailer. So I loved it when I saw it in the trailer, and I loved it again every time I've seen this movie. I've seen this movie like 3 or 4 times now so far.
Yeah.
And it's just like Herbie too. Like
I was gonna say Herbie pulled off Herbie in 2025, man. Like when we were kids, Herbie wasn't even around like that because Herbie was like 60s, 70s in the cartoon, and the fact that they went in on Herbie, and Herbie had its moments in the movie too, man. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, and I love like the design elements of it, like the fact that his face, like his eyes, they're the tape in this computer. He has like different modes for different tapes. That was such a creative little way of doing that.
Yeah. It's those tiny little details. Like, and I told my friend Matt, I'm like, if you didn't like it, because he didn't love the movie, and I was like, if you didn't love the movie, I think it's going to be one of those Marvel films that as we continue on through this current phase and go onward, I really think it's going to be one that a lot of people come back to, especially the more they integrate the Fantastic Four into the whole MCU. It's really just a stepping stone film if you're not a real big fan of the FF. But once more of these, obviously they're slowing down production, but then once we get more of the stories and you see them more, I could see this being a film that is people come back with like, I just love Fantastic Four, I love Fantastic Four, I love Fantastic Four. And it's one of the few MCU movies that's come out in the last several years that's a good jumping on point to start getting into the universe because everything's so interconnected. And yes, we've had like Shang-Chi and different iterations of different stories and stuff, but a lot of it's so convoluted that people are like, oh, I don't know, I don't want to start watching those movies now. I got to watch so much stuff catch up. It's nice to have a good point of entry into the series, and this is definitely what Fantastic Four is.
No, yeah, I mean the fact that it is set in a different universe completely, which I was a little bit. That was another thing that I was not sure if I'd like about this. The fact that you're going to, because people have been talking about this for years, right? Oh, they should do Marvel should do the Fantastic Four as a period piece. I'm just like, I get the impetus for that. I get the desire for that, but at the same time, how are you going to do that in the Marvel universe if you're going to do it in the MCU? How are you going to make that work? Because if they're around in the 60s, you don't want to do the FF as like secret superheroes. That worked kind of for Captain Marvel, but
Yeah.
that's not, I don't think that'll work for the Fantastic Four. So then you have to try, how are you going to fit that in? I don't know if you can make that work. And so when they announced that it was going to be a period piece, but it was going to be set in a different universe, my first thought was, okay, the period piece, whatever, you're doing it fine. I don't know if you're going to do a different universe. Yeah, I guess that solves the problem, but it feels like kind of a lazy way, was my impression of it, to solve that problem. But
we've had so
much
multiverse stuff the past few years anyway, so I definitely was a little weary when I heard that one.
Yeah, that too. And so, and I'm not as down on the multiverse as everybody is, but I just didn't really see a need for the Fantastic Four to be in their own universe. But then when I saw this movie and I saw like how they had used the 60s aesthetic, how they had built up this world, and I thought, I'm like, okay, now I'm starting to jive with it. I'm still not, I think there's still a part of me that probably wishes we could have gotten it set in the MCU and figured out a way to make it work that way. But what we got,
It's very unique and special.
They managed to do it. Yeah, they did it. They won me over to some degree, I'll say.
Yeah. For sure. And they finally gave us Galactus in all of its Galactus glory. The introduction of going to space, and of course Silver Surfer and Johnny's connection, and how she essentially helped him figure out how to defeat Galactus and everything like that. That was very cool. Especially it was redemption for a lot of fans who watched the second Fantastic Four movie, and then Galactus was a cloud, and they were disappointed by that, which I don't understand how I'm still not disappointed by that. Everybody else they made Galactus a cloud. I'm like, yeah, but Galactus is kind of cool though, right? They're like, no, it was a cloud. I'm like, oh, I don't know, maybe I'm weird, but maybe I just love Fantastic Four too much. But we got several great payoffs, and they definitely they made it 60s glamorous, and all of the magazines and the television coverage, and the world building they did in a small amount of time was very nice.
Yeah, it was like the perfect amount of exposition and the whole like setting up of the Future Foundation and everything, and that made sense. So I'm like, okay, now I can see why we're in this world where it's like, I think, the FF have kind of created a utopia almost, it looks like.
It kind of does look like everything's very nice. Very nice. Very nice. Thanks to the Fantastic Four.
Yeah. We also had cameos from the original 1994 cast, right? So
Yes.
Alex Hyde White, Rebecca Stabb, Jay Underwood, and Michael Bailey Smith all appeared in there. Hyde White and Stabb were journalists. Underwood and Smith were power plant workers who salute Johnny. And so yeah, I thought that was cool. Would have been nice if we got like some of the other like Michael Chiklis or Ian Grufford or any of those, but I wonder if maybe we'll see them pop up in Secret Wars. I mean, we got to see Chris Evans back as Johnny in Deadpool.
I was going to say, I said we got Chris Evans as Johnny already. Yes, we did. Yes, we did. Like, I didn't say that. There's no way I said that.
This Boston accent coming out in that.
Oh my God. Yes. Yeah, shout out to Chris Evans, man. He always goes for it, man. He just had his first kid also, so shout out to.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah. I just saw his first kid was born. So congratulations, Chris.
Yeah, but also, to that note, like one of the things that came out early, before the movie was released was this idea that Joseph Quinn had that him and Feige didn't want the more womanizing aspect of Johnny Storm. And I remember some people on like Reddit and stuff were like complaining about that. Well, that's not Johnny Storm. I'm like, dude, I haven't read. I'm not fully versed in all the FF comics, but I'm pretty sure the womanizing thing was very much more of a thing of like the earlier comics, not so much in more modern interpretations anyway.
No, man, like the running joke in Marvel comics, and like I'm obviously not reading comics on a regular basis, but the amount of panels that I have seen of Johnny laid up with either some woman with a different color skin, and I don't mean like brown skin, I mean like green skin, like alien pink skin, that kind of thing. Like a running joke in Marvel Comics is that Johnny will put it in anything that lets him, and I'm very glad that they did not lean into that aspect. Now, my Johnny Storm in my head canon, to bring that up again, is like like, hey man, ladies love Johnny. I mean, Johnny's gonna do what Johnny wants to do. But I also don't feel like it should be a huge part of his character. So I'm definitely with Quinn on that one and Feige. Um, it's just that it's just not. It shouldn't define who he is. Like, Johnny gets laid. Okay, cool. But then there's so many other things that Johnny does that really makes him the Human Torch. Besides just doing that.
Yeah, yeah. No, I agree. And I think that, like, when I think of Johnny, yeah, there's the womanizing. That's not what I think of first and foremost. I think of him as this, as this cocky, hot-headed guy. That's what my mind goes to right away. And I thought
Right.
Quinn captured that perfectly. But also with this underlying layer of intelligence, too, that we don't see in a lot of depictions, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, like Johnny the scientist. I was not ready for it because when he started listening to those records and stuff, I was like, "What's like? Are they going to have Johnny figure this out? Or maybe he'll like bring something to Reed and be like, "Hey, Reed, I kind of think this is a thing," and then Reed will figure out from there. But no, like that was all Johnny, and that was very cool, um, because we just don't get that aspect a whole lot. It's always like guns blazing first, think later, or flames
Mhm.
blazing first, or however you want to say it. But you know what I mean.
But yeah, I thought Quinn did a good job, and we do get a little bit of that aspect of, like, right when he says that line, he's like, "Oh, I know what you're thinking. Johnny loves space. Johnny loves women. So here comes this woman from space. So obviously Johnny's gonna love her." And then Ben loves when Johnny talks in the third person.
Right, right. Oh, that was great. Mm.
But yeah, and just like the '60s aesthetic was used in a way that really worked. Like I said with Herbie, I thought that was a brilliant way of using that aesthetic as a way to help convey like the kind of technology they have, and how this is just like that same technology but just on steroids.
Right. And the FF is all about the technology. And I mean, obviously, like, it's like, okay, Reed built all this fantastic stuff and Reed's done all these great things for the world. But we just spoke about Johnny, but it really seems like there's so much weight of intelligence that each character in the Fantastic Four brings. And I again appreciated that they didn't just lean into the old tropes, that they found new ways to um bring new facets to my favorite characters, and it was very satisfying seeing that.
Yeah. Also, I like the little joke at the multiverse's expense when Reed is teaching the kids and they're all falling asleep.
I mean, you got to be able to poke a little fun at yourself, man. You
Mhm.
have to be able to do that.
But yeah, and you mentioned the Ben's little romance subplot with Rachel Rosman, played by
Ah,
Natasha Lyonne,
yes.
which I thought was I at first my mind also went to Alicia, but then when I realized she's not blind, I'm like, okay, well, it's not Alicia. And then when she said her name, I'm like, why'd they use this character? And I was thinking about it. Then I remembered after I finished watching the movie, I remember like, ah, Roz Kirby.
Mm,
I get it. I
yeah,
got it. Yeah.
yeah. A little shout out,
Yeah.
and I think that's really really nice of them to do that because again, we everybody talks Stan to death, but right behind right behind Stan is of course Kirby, man, and those
Mhm.
stories aren't what they would have been without Kirby. So
Exactly. Yeah.
you got to do it.
And especially Ben, right? Because Ben was basically Kirby. So,
Yeah.
but also the designation of 828, right? It was, wasn't it based off of, yeah, Jack Kirby's birthday, August 28th, which was a cool little
Yes,
touch.
which they did at the end of the movie that they showed
Yeah.
everybody. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it doesn't take much for me, but I definitely
Mhm.
welled up a little bit. I was like, "Oh, they did a little tribute by doing that." I was like, "That's so nice." Leah's like, "What's wrong with you?" I'm like, "I don't know."
Mhm.
Your dad cares a
So,
lot. That's all.
also like we had the different FF villains pop up. We didn't get to see him unfortunately, but John Malkovich actually played the Red Ghost in some deleted
Oh,
scenes. Yeah.
nice.
Um, and we get Mole Man played by Stingray from Cobra Kai.
Yes, yes, we did, man. Shout out to Stingray, man. I mean, and Mole Man in 2025 was not on my bingo card either, man. Like, cause again, like I kind of knew from seeing the trailer that they mentioned Mole Man and showed him everything, but when of course they're trying to evacuate New York so they can fight Galactus, and then it's like the Mole Man help us. It's just perfectly played. He's like, get down here, surface dwellers.
But also like the fact that, in a way they kind of they're kind of playing on the old trope from those 60 comics of like all the supervillains want to marry Sue Storm,
Oh yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So they
Yep.
do that where it's like you're like, I don't trust Surfer Soldier, but I trust Sue Storm. So I'm like, okay, well I like that they give her, instead of making her like the damsel in distress for all these villains, instead she's like the one who actually, she becomes the peacemaker instead. I thought that was a nice
Right.
touch.
Right. No, and that makes sense because like who is it who normally gets between two hot-headed men who are about to go at it? It's usually a level-headed woman. So that makes
Mhm.
perfect sense that when these boys have fought to death, it's like Sue's like, all right, let's stop and really think about what's going on here, guys. And it's nice to hear as a peacemaker.
Yeah. Now let's talk a little bit about the Silver Surfer in this, because this is something that's probably gotten a lot of controversy on the fact they use Shalabal instead of Norin Rad.
Mm-hmm.
Um, did you have any thoughts one way or the other about that decision?
No, it didn't bother me whatsoever. We were getting Silver Surfer, which was exciting for me. I do, and I don't. I wish we got a little more Silver Surfer in the movie. I mean, obviously she's Herald of Galactus, and she's the reason they were ultimately able to defeat Galactus when she turned on Galactus and helped them um end up trapping Galactus and send him to another dimension, all that stuff. But I at the Silver Surfer is just such an interesting character, and I don't have a lot of experience with Shalabal's version of the character, so I wish we could have spent more time, but honestly, there wasn't any room for it. But no, I had no problems, man. Like, again, it's 2025. I don't care about gender swap. I don't care about race swapping. Just give me the character if it's good, man. And that's exactly what they did. They gave us a pun intended, fantastic character that moved the story along without dragging everything down. Like parts of Rise of Silver Surfer definitely did because it was Rise of Silver Surfer in the title, so we have to have more Silver Surfer.
And I feel like one of the, yeah, I'm mostly with you there too. I mean, I think I also give it a lot of, I cut a lot of slack because this is a different Earth. So,
Mm-hmm.
we can still, this isn't saying that we're never going to see Norn Rad at all. Like we easily see him pop up at some point in the future.
Of course.
But also another reason I think they did it is because I think they were trying to have some contrast between this film and Rise of the Silver Surfer, because both of them feature the Surfer, both of them feature Galactus. So it's like you want to give the audiences something, and there's some beats that are very similar in tone. There's the movies definitely rhyme, right? The whole
Mm-hmm.
idea of like, so a flying character comes from space. Who's the most obvious member of the Fantastic Four to go chase after him and see what the deal is? Obviously Johnny, because he's the only
Johnny.
one who can fly, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that makes so how are you going to make that different in this version? It's like, okay, well in this version, instead of it being someone that he's chasing after and that he's going to try and fight, whereas Sue is the one who's going to make peace with him and try and convince him to help them. Well, why don't you have Johnny be the one who's going to have to make peace with the Surfer? And how are you going to find a way to do that? Well, do it with, this is someone he's attracted. I thought that was a nice way of doing it, and also contrasting, Shalabal's decision to sacrifice herself for her world and Sue's decision to not sacrifice her son for her world. Right? That idea of
Right.
like, that idea of sacrificing yourself for your world, and that showing that contrast between the two of them, I thought made for some really interesting character dynamics between all of them.
I didn't even think about that. That's spot on, man, because like that was the whole man. And also shout out to all these bloodthirsty earthlings, man, that want to kill a baby. Like give your baby to Galactus. Just do it. Whatever, we'll be fine. You can have another baby. Like what? What? This is our kid. And it's like, why won't Sue and Reed give up their baby? Like what? Like I love. I mean, obviously they weren't going to give up Franklin. I mean, it makes perfect sense. But these people were bloodthirsty and ready to bring
Mm-hmm.
pitchforks to the Baxter Building and everything. So no, that is a great contrast that Silver Surfer decided to give up herself to save her world, and then Sue ultimately was like, you know what? I'm not going down without a fight. And you're not getting my kid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Um, Also, one of the things I like too about it is, well, I want to talk about that whole the decision, the whole bloodthirsty stuff, and the idea of sacrificing Franklin for Earth, because when I'm watching the movie, like my mind is thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, they're gonna keep this secret, and this is gonna be kind of like a thing. And then Reed
Yes.
just fucking says it right in the press conference, like, dude, what are you thinking? What
That
are you
makes so much
thinking?
sense, though. It makes so much sense because when with somebody that brilliant, you would have to think that he would not understand social cues or the right time to say
That's
things. That
true too. Yeah.
he would just be like, oh, like Reed, what the fuck you say that for? You know? And that's exactly what happened because he's like, oh yeah, we went up there and like they want our kid to save the world, but we're not going to do that. And they're like, wait, what? Yeah, you want your
Yeah,
like when you're
he's like, well,
it's
Galactus wanted too high a price. Well, what did he want? It's like, I'm sitting there, I'm like, don't say it, don't say it, don't say it, don't say it. And then he says, well, he wanted our son. It's like, okay,
it was a Sheldon Cooper moment. It was 100% Sheldon Cooper moment, and like he's just so damn smart that he has no common sense, and that was the perfect iteration of that for Reed. And even Reed Richards has those moments.
yeah, that's the way I forgive it. Like, well, that is a Reed thing to do, just like not understand. It's like, well, why wouldn't they understand why we don't want to sacrifice our kid? I'm like, have you met humanity?
I mean, yeah, for like maybe not tell him all next time. Be like, but also it's the scrutiny of the press too, because
Mhm.
even in like the other MCU movies, like I'm trying to think, like the press has never been as prevalent. Like maybe in the beginning of Civil War and like here and there when like people run up on Tony, like in Iron Man 3 when he threatens the Mandarin, he's like, yeah, the Mandarin can come to my house and see me, and then he gets his house blown up. Like, of course, dumbass. But like literally, like the only thing the press has to do is cover his family. That's the only thing they give three shits about. And so I could see that pressure, especially having just had everything happen, and then they were just kind of gathering themselves and got back, and it's like, Reed, what happened? And he's like, they want our kid, and we don't want to do that. I mean, sorry, he didn't have time to gather his thoughts. Y'all threw a microphone in his face immediately because they needed a press statement. So that had something to do with it too.
Yeah. So let's but and that also gave us the great speech that Sue gives as well too. So I thought that was
Yes. Which I had to go watch later because that was during the bathroom break. Because she was getting ready to say it, and I'm like, oh, okay, everybody's cool. And now they're this is the plan. I'm like, okay, all right. Then we got back. But it was also another crowning achievement for Vanessa Kirby, aka Sue Richards. Man, just again, she's the peacemaker. She's like, look, we're not going to go peacefully into the night. We're not just going to hide up in the tower and then like Galactus just eat the planet. Like we're going to do everything we can to save this world. Y'all just gotta just believe in us and let us do our thing, and we're hoping everything will come out on the other side. And the peacemaker, man.
yeah.
No John Cena.
Which we actually just finished talking about that.
Oh, nice.
In another
Very
episode.
nice.
Yeah. It's the episode coming right before this.
How convenient.
Yeah. But what about Galactus? Talk a little bit about what your thoughts were on Galactus.
The first time I saw Galactus was in it was I can't remember. He was fighting High Evolutionary on the cover of one of the Fantastic Four covers. It's like Galactus versus High Evolutionary, and they're like giants and they're fighting, and FF's down below them. And that was my first real exposure to the character in comic book form. I of course knew of how Galactus came to Earth, and then Silver Surfer came, and he's like, "Hey, Galactus going to eat your planet. Like, there's nothing you can do." And then, of course, I was like in the early Lee and Kirby run. It was literally ripped right out of those comic pages. It didn't miss a beat. The whole Franklin thing, I need Franklin because I can tell Franklin's special. I get it. You can't have Franklin without mentioning that Franklin has powers. That may have been a little the only thing that really bugged me was that I have to have your baby, and for plot points and everything and how the movie went and ultimately with the final battle, I understand why Franklin was so important. But I wish it had just been, I'm coming to your planet to eat it because I need to eat these planets or I die. I just needed to be that simple. And yeah, I just need to be that simple that I'm a planet eater, I'm going to eat your planet, and that's that. And then it was like, I'm a planet eater, I'm going to eat your planet, but that thing in your belly is special. I want it. and that kind of threw it off a little bit for me, but it wasn't enough for me to detract from having Galactus. Finally, I love Galactus in this movie.
I thought, see, that actually worked for me because I read, in Earth X, right, Franklin Richards is the new Galactus in that series.
Right.
And also in Mark Waid recently did I think it's called like History of the Marvel Universe or something like that. And in that it is like Franklin and Galactus talking about like the history of the Marvel Universe in like the far future before like there's going to be like this trade-off between them or something along those lines. So it really made sense for me to have Galactus want Franklin, and also gave Galactus an odd sort of sense of humanity, right? Because again, in the Tim Story films, Galactus is just a force of nature, right? Literally unhuman, completely unhuman, right? Just a literal cloud. And so
Great
this
big,
way,
beautiful cloud.
this idea of Galactus being this guy who's just like, it's like I was a person in the old universe that came before this one, and now my only purpose is just to consume worlds. Just like, I am tired, right? I just want to rest. I mean, I could understand that, and so that idea of like this kid is my successor, and so I kind of understood where he was coming from with that, and it made me have some sense of sympathy for Galactus in that way.
I forgot all about Earth X. So that in that light, I can kind of see it a little bit more. But also, I'm still going off I've only seen it once. I've only seen it in the theater. So I'm looking forward to rewatching it because I think it's finally about to come to Disney here soon. And really getting to see that portion again of the connection between Franklin and Galactus. Because honestly, end of the day, Franklin's one of the most powerful characters in Marvel Universe. Galactus is one of the most powerful characters in the universe. It would make sense that big picture Galactus would think that way.
Yeah. And also, I think introducing Franklin's powers here in this makes sense because I imagine that he's going to kind of serve the role that the Beyonders served in the Secret Wars for Doom, and that role is going to be Franklin's role in Doomsday and then Secret Wars in the MCU.
Quite possibly. And I'm fine with Mega Power Franklin. That doesn't bother me at all. I'm not somebody who thinks the FF should have regular kids, or also I'm not somebody who thinks Franklin should be de-aged like over and over again. But that's just me. But of course, I still want a spider marriage. But so there's that too. I do think it serves multiple things going forward.
Yeah. And well, one of the things too I thought was interesting was the way they handled Sue's invisibility, because in the Tim Story films it was just very much kind of like it was very much kind of like see through with just like some outlines. Here they had kind of like the prismatic effect of it happening. What were your thoughts about how they decided to display her powers in that way?
I didn't even think about it. I thought it was perfect. Because again, another one of the most powerful superheroes in the Marvel Universe, who, with the right writer, is super dangerous, and that's exactly what she was in the MCU version. Like she was powerful, she was smart, and she used her powers to the fullest in many different ways, even during giving childbirth. So, which I still love that scene so much. But no, I did not have any problem. I didn't even cross my mind about any of the effects or anything like that. I was like, yep, they got it.
One of the things too I liked about the way she used her powers was how she uses her invisibility when Reed wants to do all these scans on Franklin while she's still pregnant. And she's like, he's fine. Look, I will show you. And she just literally makes her...
She's like, shh. I was like, yo, that's... And then, like, I mean, she's an invisible woman, so why couldn't she just show you her uterus? Like, well, why not? I mean, that was very cool. Very cool.
And also,
people back the curtain.
That's a bullshit way to win an argument.
And also, shout out to Pedro for that. I mean, I'm sure it was in the script, but like, I feel like Reed would have to be really frustrated to curse. Like, just because I feel like Reed's just so smart. He's like, I don't need those kind of words. So when Reed curses, it just really shows off how pissed off or how frustrated it is that he's not winning the conversation. So that was a nice touch.
Yeah. Also, the end scene when we see them trying to put the car seat in. Dude, anyone who has ever tried to put a car seat in knows what that is like.
It is so brutal. It may be easier in newer vehicles, but when I had my child, I had a 2011 Dodge Stratus, and then Angel had her 2011 Chevy Equinox. And I can say the Equinox is easier, but my car getting that car seat in was murder. Murder. I don't know how I'm here with you today, pair. I swear. Because those things are awful. And then seeing them struggle as the superheroes of the only superheroes of the entire world struggling with a car seat, it was like that's what makes the Fantastic Four the Fantastic Four.
Yeah, I mean, so my car is a 2018, so it's not gotten any easier. It's in fact it's only gotten more complicated because now they have all these different like clicks in and things like that one had in, and it's just like and ours are just simple, seatbelt ones, which are still a pain in the ass. It's just like what, and we were trying to use
suck too. Yeah,
right. But when we got into the when we went back, we were using my my brother-in-law's car, and the kind of like the car seats there, they do have those like kind of like snap in type things, and trying to work those things. I'm like, oh my fucking god,
I know.
Jesus Christ.
I know. One time I clearly remember, like I went around a turn and I thought I had Aaliyah strapped in, and I definitely looked in the rear view and Aaliyah went just slid a little across the car, and I'm like, hold up.
Yeah, I've had those moments too.
Let me pull over, and like, yeah, man, it's ridiculous.
Oh god.
That baby's safe though once they're in there.
That baby's safe. Yeah, that car seat's not going anywhere.
Absolutely, man.
The only other thing I think, one of the things that kind of disappointed me about the thing though is I wish they would have done some sort of like added some sort of like effect or something to his voice, because I felt like his voice was too normal. Do you know what I mean?
I could have definitely saw that, because obviously he's this big hulking orange monster. So you would think there'd be a little bit more to his voice. But I did like the New York of it all, because obviously Ben is very proud of being a New Yorker. And if anybody from Fantastic Four is going to sound very New York, it should be Ben. So in that way, his voice worked with the accent. But I do wish it was just a little bit more bass and more gravel to it. But no,
yeah, even if they had like turned up the reverb on it or something. I think would have given it, or cranked up the bass on it or something, would have given it a little bit more weight. Because as much as I loved his performance, I agree with you. I think his voice was perfect, and I'm glad they did touch on that neighborhood kid aspect thing, the Yancey Street stuff, because that's something that's been absent from pretty much every version of the thing we've seen so far.
Yeah, we've not seen that kid from around the way in New York. It's always been like with Chickless, like we already mentioned that. I'm a monster. I don't want to be a monster, and then whatever they did with Trank, whatever they did with that.
And well, they also touched on his Jewish heritage, because when he goes to the temple when Galactus is there.
Yes, they did, and that was very cool. That was very cool that they did that. I like that touch.
Yeah, the only thing is, to just complete the Kirby nod, I wish we would have seen him with a cigar at one point.
Yeah, but like kids see a giant monster smoking a cigar in 2025, they're going to be like, "Mom, give me a cigar," and their mom will be like, "Shut up, kid," and give them the cigar, and then we're reading about it on Facebook tomorrow. So you know how impressionable children are, Perry.
So then the only thing to talk about is, other thing too, like I thought this was also a weird design choice, was the design of the costumes, right? Because they don't all have the same costume, but I couldn't really figure out, because like Thing and Johnny are basically the same, and then Sue's got the most traditional of the FF costumes, and then Reed's, the only difference is he just doesn't have the white collar. So do you have any thoughts about? It just felt like a weird design choice for me.
They look like very cozy sweaters up top, and then just some form-fitting pants on each of them. They didn't scream. They screamed like, "Hey, we're Fantastic Four," and it kind of gave me like sports vibes, where there's like 16 million different jersey alternates and stuff. And it's kind of
Mm.
like, what FF uniform do I want to wear today? Do I wear the all blues? Do I want to wear the black and blue? Do I want to wear white collar with the blue? So I do like the idea that they wouldn't match entirely, and that they've had so many uniforms at this point. It's kind of like grab and go and kind of throw it together. That doesn't bother me. Um, they definitely gave me more of a cozy feel than a true
Mm.
superhero outfit. But I know
I
they're
didn't
made up of
mind.
unstable molecules, so who
Yeah.
cares?
Well, that was another thing too. I don't understand why when they're talking about the spacesuits and stuff, they don't
Mhm.
ever mention the words unstable molecules. I'm just like, I was waiting for that reference there.
Right. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Maybe they're going to say that for something else and be like, yeah, unstable
Maybe.
molecules. But I mean, you know it's going to come out at some point. They got to use
Mhm.
unstable molecules. But yeah, the space suit with Johnny, and he's like, we get to go. We're on space. We get to put the suits on. You serious? Because all Johnny wanted to do was go back to space, because it sounded like Reed had never, like, after the accident happened, where he's like, we ain't going
Yeah,
back.
it seems like they ground. Also, that's a nice little touch too. Is the ship, which I think actually comes from the Heroes Reborn when they called it
Oh,
Excelsior, and so
nice.
then they took that aspect from Jim Lee's Heroes Reborn thing and used it here.
Okay. That's very cool. But it makes perfect sense of this version of Reed be like, because obviously in the comic books where he's like, oh, I'm sorry I gave you powers, but we're going back to space. Like,
Hmm.
let's go. We gotta go. We gotta boogie. And for however many years, what's it been, like 3 years since
It was
when they
four
since it,
years.
4 years, thank you. Since they started, the idea that Reed was like, no, like, we're in this position because of me. I cannot risk your lives again to go back to space. And really ultimately him having a very difficult time with that up until they had to go find Galactus. I really like that touch. Um
Yeah, same here.
so yeah, that was really cool.
So one last thing before we finish up here. What do you think about the post credit scene?
Cautiously optimistic would be my best thing, because um I've said it before, man, like, and obviously wouldn't have the MCU without Robert Downey Jr. and Iron Man, and how that took off in 2008. And then to this day, when he snaps that damn hand, and then you go to the funeral, man, like, I'm welled up. Like, there's nothing. Again, I'm a crier. There's nothing I can do. Like, there's no flaws found in Robert Downey Jr.'s performance of Tony Stark in any of his appearances for me. I have faith in Marvel. I have faith in him, that he can pull it off. I did like the end credit scene. I did like the rapid aging up of Franklin, but whatever. I'm sure that'll be explained in due
Oh,
time.
it was
Also, he
another four
has.
years. It said.
Yes, that's true. That's true. Thank you. Again, I've only saw it in theater at one time, and so even in the and then Sue reading that giant book, he's like, I want to read this. She's like, no, let's read the simple book, honey. I thought it was cool. It gave the same feeling of the Thunderbolts after credits, when of course the ship's coming into the atmosphere and you see the four on the side, and you're like, oh, the Fantastic Four are coming in the MCU. Um, I'm just cautiously optimistic about all of it. I'm
Mm.
not getting my hopes up. But I am excited for the future for sure.
Yeah, I was a little bit, my I've been leaning towards. I think I'm okay with Downey being Doom if it's like a Tony Stark variant, if he's like the superior Iron Man or something like that.
Hmm.
but but now, but after seeing Oppenheimer and the role he played in that, and I didn't recognize him at first.
Same,
So
same
so yeah,
actually.
so I'm thinking like, if especially if they keep him in the mask the whole time, I think people may not even realize it's Downey. So
Right.
I'm also cautiously optimistic. Whether they're doing a Stark variant or whether they're doing the actual Doom, we'll see. But I'm also cautiously optimistic to see what happens with this. Um,
Me too,
but yeah,
sir. Me too.
but yeah,
Future
that
is
does
looking
it
bright
for
again.
yes, hopefully, yeah. So anyway, that does it for first step. So Kel, why don't you tell people where they can find you?
You can find me at B-Hyphen.com. That's a BHYPHEN.com. You can find all my music and my podcast and everything like that there. And then my socials is B-Hyphen, because I'm still over on X, so I'm still hanging out over there. I'm not even really hanging out. I'm really just talking to my friends on DM and like retweeting sports stuff. So I'm over there. And then also Instagram is the B-Hyphen, and then Facebook is B-Hyphen. So that's where you can get me.
And we are not on X. We left that a while ago, but we are on Blue Sky. So superherocinefiles.com on Blue Sky. Superherocinefiles.com is the website. And that does it for this episode. Thanks so much for listening. We'll talk to you next time.
Thanks for listening to the Superhero Cinephiles podcast. Superhero Cinephiles is produced by me, Percival Constantine. The show is created by myself and the late, great Derek Ferguson, our host emeritus. Visit us on the web at superherocinephiles.com to listen to past episodes or find out how you can be a guest yourself. Support the show by visiting our advertiser links or click the Buy Me a Coffee link on the website to make a one-time donation. We are Super Cinema Pod on both Instagram and Blue Sky, so please be sure to follow us. We'd also appreciate it if you could rate and review the show on Apple Podcasts and share us with your friends.
Thank you for listening. And as always, good night, good evening. God bless.